All right, we got everybody here. Thanks for everybody listening in. Thanks for joining. Excited for another Spaces where we get to break down a really exciting game coming to Avalanche, and they're going to talk all about it. And there's lots of stuff to go over. So why don't we kick things off? I just wanted to do a quick round of intros. Wanted to start with our special guests here. So Alvaro, why don't we go ahead and start with you if you want to give a quick intro on yourself.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having me, Ed. Man, hello there. Long time no see you. So, I'm Alvaro Martin, the CEO of 12 Random Words, Pulsar, and I'm almost 20 years in the video game industry. More focused on building bespoke engines and tools to be able to scale up the user base to as much as possible. Yeah, I was more focused the latest year on that. I was tech director of the whole technology at King, and I left when we had 267 million users. So I know adoption is key and is fundamental for the future of Web3 gaming. So this is what we are going to try to do with Avalanche Subnet and with Pulsar.
Amazing. Thanks for joining us, and exciting to have your experience here with us and talking through that. So why don't we go over to you, Garrison? Want to give a quick intro?
Yeah, hey everyone. My name's Garrison, CM over here at Pulsar Games. My background's in consumer tech and free-to-play games. I've worked with a bunch of really large studios like Zynga and Glue, and I did a couple of AAA games back in the day as well. But I joined because Alvaro sold me on the dream. This is an incredible game, and we can't wait to talk about it.
Awesome. Yeah. Can't wait to hear a lot about it too. And of course, we have Ed here, our head of gaming at Avalabs. Ed, you want to say hello?
Hey everybody, Ed here. Really excited to spend some time with the team today. So if it's okay with you, Kyle, I can jump right into it.
Yeah, let's do it. Jump in.
Cool. So just like Garrison, I think Alvaro's excitement for gaming and Web3 is infectious, right? So Alvaro, maybe you can talk a little bit of how we got connected, and then what you were doing just before this and how you got effectively Web3 pilled.
My story with Web3 started investing in crypto a little, then trading, building my scripts in TradingView, and then pitching projects to my previous company, Wildlife Studio. Yeah, I designed Castle Crash crypto, and cost me like 1 year to put this idea on the CEO, and was super hard. And this happened like a lot in the video game industry, and probably in any corporation. This already super big. Take them for ages to shift their thought and really see with fresh eyes new opportunities. No, so what happened basically is that I quit my job, my high salary as a studio tech director when I did the tokenomics of Castle Crash Crypto, and then was like, okay, let's prepare for this. We built super quickly with 3 people the in-game footage. Our first video, it was a little trailer with a bit of in-game footage. And Ed, man, we met back in the days, and then we saw each other in the Avalanche Summit in Barcelona. And man, good connection. What can I say? Hey, look at what we have. This is what we want to do, and ping pong until here. That we are already 30 developers in Pulsar. So man, quite excited. It was a hell of a ride.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that we just met a few months ago, but would love to hear kind of your vision for what Pulsar is. So I see elements of StarCraft and other games in there, but would love to hear directly from you, like what you guys set out to build and what that vision really is.
Yeah, so the inception idea of this actually was I play a lot StarCraft, Command and Conquer, Age of Empires, ultimately some of the title of Total War, Warhammer, and why an RTS was the right time to do it again was because of this simple idea. In StarCraft, you start and you send your robots to mine, right? Nowadays, you mine tokens with either GPUs or CPU, depending on the protocol, right? So for me, it was very clear before we started doing the market analysis. Hey, why we don't mine those tokens, gaming in a fun game, and instead of GPUs or CPUs, are the NFTs. I really think that the next wave for the next bull run is going to be NFT gaming, and if we are able to craft it right with the proper technology, crypto games are not going to have bear markets. Web2 has no bear markets. Yeah, so it's my belief, and it's what we are working on. Garrison, why don't you do also maybe short pitch about it?
Yeah, so like Alvaro was saying, right, our thesis is sort of grounded in the fact that in the traditional sense, like gaming is kind of recession proof. Entertainment is one of those industries that when the market is in a down cycle, it actually accelerates. And when we think about why we are building Pulsar the way that we are building it's because we want to have mass adoption from both Web 2 and Web 3. The wrong way to describe Pulsar is that we're building a Web3 game. I think Firestorm, one of our investors, probably said it best. Is Pulsar is a game where Web3 is optional, and we've built something that allows anyone to play without investing. It's free to play. You can play just by downloading it without having your wallet, without configuring a wallet, without having a wallet. And the reason why we want to do this is because the path to success in building a sustainable economy is making sure that we have a constant influx of adoption of new people coming in and playing the game and trying the game, marginally investing in the game, very similar to a traditional free-to-play model. And then instead of us, the company, selling all of these boosters and assets to the free-to-play players, the people who are monetizing in this two-sided marketplace are the Web3 players. And so all we're doing is creating the foundation of what this marketplace looks like, right? We're selling the initial land NFTs, we're selling the individual starter units, but everything that's actually created and sold in the marketplace, the Pulsar, which is the on-chain token for the game, the on-chain NFTs, the upgraded units, etc. That's all value that's being created by the players as they progress and play the game.
Got it. Okay. So I think it's all kind of starting to come together for the audience here. You talk a lot about like the on-chain stuff and the economy, but tell me, like at its core, what is the game loop like with the elevator pitch of what the game really is?
It's an open world, massively multiplayer version of StarCraft. Imagine instead of a 45-minute StarCraft match, your StarCraft match starts and it just doesn't end. It keeps evolving.
That sounds awesome and exciting and a little bit tiring all at the same time. Watching the gameplay, it's really impressive what you guys have built, especially compared to maybe other games that have blockchain elements that have been developing for a lot longer. Like maybe Kyle can highlight the gameplay tweet that you guys have launched. But can you walk us through kind of the progress, the timing, like how you're able to move so quickly, because the game looks really awesome already.
Yeah, so that's because probably because how much I suffer in video game development. So yeah, at one point you develop that kind of speed, but this is based on risk management. Yeah. So I know that there are plenty of projects that they take a lot to develop, but in the latest, I would say 10 years, I was really specialized in speed up the team, decision taking, restructure the company teams, how you engage those developers. That is a very essential part of it. And yeah, you need to think about that. Our developers, when we put that idea, we were very quiet. We didn't want to publish stuff. We keep it as secret as possible until we had everything well placed. what we did was call our ex-colleagues, people that we've been working with them in the past. So we have a mixture in the team between AAA developers and mobile developers. Mobile developers, we are more in optimization and live operation. We launch content every 2 weeks. We are planning the same thing to do, launch content every month in this case, because AAA, the quality is a bit, needs a bit more time of cooking. And they left their job. When we put the in-game footage that you saw in the summit, they left their job and they say, I want to do that. Unreal Engine 5 and RTS, come on. And they quit. And those are really senior people that they were working in Rainbow Six, Call of Duty, Ghost of Tsushima, Cyberpunk, etc., etc., etc. The list, you go to our website, and you're going to see the LinkedIn of everybody, the projects we've been working on the past. So we have a really interesting setup that is handmade, crafted for the purpose of how to develop this game, a AAA, with the speed of a free-to-play mobile. And the result, you have it. You know the project since the beginning.
Yeah, it's almost like watching the progresses on like fast forward, just seeing how much you guys are building. So really exciting, And I know Garrison spoke a little bit about kind of how NFTs are integrated into the game, but it's also going to be free to play. Can you talk a little bit about how you're thinking about top of the funnel? Because I think in the first wave of Web3 games, right, a lot of people kind of maybe touted the high floor price of NFTs to play that game. But that's very counterculture, right, to the mobile, like free-to-play experience where it's all about a massive top of the funnel. So can you talk about how you think about that and how NFTs and blockchain are like very seamlessly integrated into free-to-play?
Yeah, before...
go for it.
Garrison. Me? Okay. Yeah, so basically, I just wanted to highlight a few concepts of the tokenomics, So here we are going to have an organic growth of our token. So when you buy, to be able to give utility, real utility to the NFTs, so they hold the value, if you buy land, Pulsar is there in the land. It's not us dumping tons of tokens and you buy speculative about it. Of course, you are going to have always a speculation, that's for sure. But the Pulsar should be extracted. And the unique one that are able to extract that Pulsar are the miners. And the unique one are able to convert that raw Pulsar into the token are the refineries. So we have this concept of organic growth and organic scale up, and give always value to the NFTs. Yeah, Garrison, sorry, excuse me to interrupt.
No worries. I'll kind of summarize what Alvaro said, because it's one of the most important pieces for the people who are listening and thinking, hey, GameFi has been a little bit of a mess lately with this market down cycle. What is different about Pulsar, and why should I feel comfortable playing and participating in this ecosystem? There are two primary things that we've done in this game to make it more sustainable and more stable. The first one is what Alvaro mentioned about the token. Token liquidity is generated by people playing the game, and that token liquidity is generated by people owning land NFTs and extracting the raw Pulsar, right, which is just an in-game construct, refining it, which is an in-game mechanism, and creating an on-chain token called Pulsar, right, that has value. That allows the game mechanics to control the supply of Pulsar in the market, and it also means there aren't any mechanisms where a small group of people over time can cause a massive inflation in that token. The only way for there to be more liquidity unlocked for the token is if a ton of people play the game. And so token liquidity and the amount of inflation is controlled and proportional to the number of people that are playing and the time that they spend playing it. That's super important, right? Because it prevents things like NFT staking and yield farming from absolutely destroying the economy. This mechanism also provides a floor for the value of the land, because inherently, not only do you have the in-game utility of the NFT, you also have the token value stored within the land NFT. And that's a really important mechanism because we've seen this like massive volatility in the price of NFTs. And this mechanism allows us to have some basis of a price floor. The second part of the economy is this idea of revenue exposure to Web 2. And at the risk of getting like a little bit too in the weeds, by having a goal of 80% of our user base being free to play, right? Like free to play in the sense that they start for free or they start on a Web 2 surface without a wallet. We make sure that the project is always making money from fiat. And that sounds really counter to Web3, but it's really important for our Web3 players because it means that they're creating assets and they're selling them to this Web2 audience. And a large portion of the revenue that the project generates, that the game generates, is less tied to market cycles. And so, yes, there's going to be speculation, and yes, there's going to be the ups and downs of the crypto market. But because so much of the incoming liquidity is coming from fiat, right, we're allowing people to buy using their credit cards. And when they purchase something in the game, the same way that you might play Candy Crush and buy a booster, when you buy that thing with your credit card, you're actually buying an on-chain asset from a Web3 player. And they're monetizing and they're actually earning money from a new revenue source as opposed to some of these closed off GameFi ecosystems that just kind of spin the tokens around in a closed loop, right? And that eventually causes inflation.
Okay, so it sounds like you've got this kind of pretty cool flywheel in the in-game economy. I think one question that a lot of people, tend to ask, especially right now in this market, right, is pushing on like, where is the utility for the token? I think the two token model has had its challenges, right? And that was kind of the early V1. And then we've seen one token models, we've seen NFT only marketplaces. So you've talked about kind of fiat and onboarding like Web2 normies. You've talked about the token itself. Like, can you talk a little bit about how this token kind of drives value and where that utility is?
Yeah, I would say the most important link in the conversation with Garrison, what he said. Imagine a free-to-play game like Candy Crush, yeah, or any other. You with fiat, you buy gems, and you use those gems to buy in the store they have, yeah. In our case, they are going to buy Pulsar, yeah, which is going to create a healthy pressure in the price of the token, and they are going to spend that Pulsar buying instead of from our store. They are going to buy the NFTs that the players are going to craft. Yeah, so Pulsar is the most valuable resource. So you are going to have always an advantage using Pulsar in the game. So everything is related with that, and is our hard currency. If we keep in mind that model that bring billions into the market in free to play, we are going to have the same model. It's just what we are going to do with our technologies underneath. We are going to link that fiat world with the crypto world, creating that new revenue stream that Garrison was talking about.
Cool. Very exciting. You also talk about, the game kind of like StarCraft, but also an MMO, right? And I think there are a lot of MMOs right now in the blockchain space, or people building kind of for that use case. As we all know, an MMO requires, a significant floor of active players to make this a vibrant kind of game and competitive ecosystem. Can you talk about how you're thinking about building community, or how you're thinking about bringing in some of these, traditional Web2 gamers and your user acquisition strategy?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think from a user acquisition perspective, right, it's incredibly important to have that sort of non-custodial on-ramp. The idea of reducing barriers through free-to-play, right, removing the financial barrier, but also removing wallet configuration and requiring a custodial wallet, that allows people to play the game on the basis of being interested in the game and not having to go in and figure out MetaMask or anything like that, right? So we want to make it easy and frictionless for people. The second thing is our team is, we've got a huge background in traditional user acquisition. Alvaro comes from Wildlife Studios. I've been working in casual gaming and mobile gaming forever. A lot of this is a known muscle, right? On sort of putting a extremely well-marketed product out there, a beautiful game, and that's going to organically attract players. this idea that you can move from free to play to then actually crafting and building on-chain assets and earning money, like I think that is a really important value proposition for a lot of players. And then the last piece is StarCraft, right? Is StarCraft, this RTS category is something that we all grew up with, and we know that this kind of concept is really going to appeal to a lot of people. But even for the people who aren't into like this hardcore kind of gaming set, you can play Pulsar and you can kind of have this like enclosed mining experience. You can play Pulsar and sort of just be a crafter. You don't have to engage in the game 100% in order to participate in the ecosystem. And so by kind of giving players this choose your own adventure, choose how much you want to engage, it creates a lot of different surface areas for people to download and play.
Yeah, very cool. In terms of like the distribution and platforms, where are folks, going to be able to play this? And then, I believe this is going to be on mobile as well. Like, how do you think about like living in the App Store world?
Yeah, so we believe that the future games in the market should be cross-platform. Was something I was pushing for the latest year, and was the trend. And Epic Games with Fortnite demonstrated that was possible. So PC, Mac, mobile, iOS, Android, right? So that's very important because the masses are there. So at the end, I believe that the games that are going to have that metaverse label in their games should be cross-platform. Yeah, as I was mentioning. And we need also onboarding of different type of users. Yeah, users that they only like to mine, users that they only like to speculate, users that are going to be playing the whole day, users that they only like the competitive aspect of it. Yeah, so we cannot build truly metaverses if it's not more about the experience about how you play that game and not be tied to a style of gaming. So in order to achieve that, we go cross-platform, and we are going to do a smart onboarding. So during this year, we are going to do 3 expansion packs that are subsets of our game: miners, builders, warlords. We call it. So to be able to generate the liquidity of the token, the liquidity of the NFTs, have a bit of fun. Before 23, that we expect that it's going to be crazy, launching content every month. And try to have that balance between different type of players that they are going to play together, even in battles. What we are doing is deepening the layers of mining and building, like you can see in StarCraft, that is just some seconds. We're going to deepen that experiences, and we are going even to allow them in a pleasant way and in a fun way to engage with each other, PvE, PvP, and missions, cooperative missions.
Very cool. We're obviously, I ask this every time, we are on the Avalanche Twitter account, and so I must ask, why of all the chains are you looking to build on Avalanche? Subnets are obviously a key differentiator for what we offer in terms of the tech. Like, is that in the cards? Like, talk a little bit about that roadmap and infrastructure decision.
Is the core of everything, I would say. Nowadays, Avalanche subnets is the best piece of technology to be able to build Web3 games. There is no doubt about it. Because at the end, what you are having is your own mini blockchain with all the technology you already built is available for us, with all the consensus mechanism, security, and so on. And it's isolated from the layer ones where you have tons of noise, and in other blockchains you have high gas fees. That's kind of impossible. You need to imagine how important this is for video game developers. So first, we are able to have our native token. Secondly, we have a speed. And thirdly, we have a way to scale up that was never available before, right? And you don't need like thousands and thousands of dollars to be able to start even operating your subnet. just imagine to do these kind of things on layer ones like Ethereum. The cost will be so massive that you cannot even start the project. Yeah. So in this case, Avalanche subnet is making this possible. Yeah. So I really think subnets are going to be really big in the future.
That's what we love to hear. How are you thinking about like easy onboarding for users, right? You obviously have kind of a mobile element, this mandate to bring in a lot of kind of traditional Web2 gamers. How are you thinking about like the easiest onboarding possible versus how, maybe crypto in general is today?
Yeah, so we approach this as how we do in mobile, like install and play. Yeah. So the key element here is adoption. Yeah, we have a long way to go until we have the same numbers like free to play. Yeah, we have tons of things to do in education, right? But the technology should make things simpler. Yeah. It's fine that the game is complex, not complicated, but in terms of onboarding and adoption, it's really important that it's install and play. Yeah. So what we did was build one smart contract called Treasury System, which keep the balances of the game. To try to explain this in a very simple way, when you install the game, like happening free to play, you are assigned with a unique identifier. Yeah. And if you imagine that beforehand you bought your NFTs in our marketplace, yeah, what you just need to do is link your wallet with your game ID. In the moment you are able to read that, yeah, and identify that your wallet is your player, then you have there the key. You don't need to be stopping the player all the time, connecting the wallet, or even when you want to access the website or the marketplace, you don't need to be all the time asking for the connection with the wallet. Yeah. So we need to lower barriers as much as possible. And knowing the sentiment, but this was designed since the beginning, we are going to allow people pay with stable coins, USDC, USDT, AVAX. Yeah. So to make things as simple as possible, we are going to lower those barriers too. Yeah. Maybe it's not the right moment for AVAX, but there are tons of people with draw powder. Yeah. With the stable coin. So it's all about that adoption. And I think that is the big challenge here that we have in Web3 gaming. Should be as simple as Web2 mobile. Install and play.
Very cool. You talked about some of the challenges in Web3 gaming today, and I think you guys have been very kind of real and honest and open about the roadmap and how you're thinking about things. So let's go a little deeper. Like, what are some of the like challenges that you see for GameFi in general for this project that as you guys are heads down building?
Yeah. So in terms of the roadmap, we are going to mid-August. Launch and stream with our investors the multiplayer mission, yeah, with a new biome, and we are going to do during this August some free minting, and we are going to launch the minting pass. Yeah, when you have the minting pass, what we want to be extra sure is that we do engagement with the community since the beginning. So will be the unique time that you are going to have the NFTs. A special price and with a perpetual discounts if you have your mint pass. Yeah. So then we are going to move on to September. Yeah. And do our NFT drops, sell the starter kits, the land, and those ones are going to be also really scarce. Yeah. Pulsar miners are going to be really scarce. And refineries are going to be really scarce because are the ones that are generating the liquidity. Then we go with the land. The land will be like a direct consumable, but in the moment you have your mining rig, then you just need to buy land. In the land, you're going to buy to be able to craft your guilds. And think about this concept. Free-to-play players are going to start in the lands that are going to be configured by you as open, yeah. So free to play land is going to start in your land, helping you to mine resources around, yeah, and everything that they are going to craft to explain it in a very, 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 very simple way, you're going to be able to tax them. Yeah. So what we are going to do is give crypto users and the Avalanche community like a 3-4 month ahead of the game. Yeah. To be able to set up everything. And before we start onboarding and doing user acquisition of Web 2. Yeah. What was the other question, Ed? I think I jumped a part of the roadmap.
I was asking, what do you see as some of your biggest challenges in building this in the vision?
Yeah, so I think the most challenging thing will be explain to Web3 a different way of Web3 game, because up until now, Web3 games are kind of simple and with this 2 tokens model, right? Of, hey, you buy NFTs, you do something with them, you dump the token, and it's like a vicious cycle, yeah. And here we are having other type of pillars in our tokenomics and so on, and the game is more like a real AAA game, right? So explain the complexity to the Web2 players and explain the complexity to the Web3 players, I think is the challenge we have here. So that's why we want to be releasing subsets of the game. While we are releasing, we are explaining the projects to our users. Garrison, how do you see this?
Yeah, I think the other thing that's really challenging as well, and we always say, like, thank goodness for games like Axie Infinity that sort of broke open this industry for us. But at the same time, it also has created a lot of challenges, right? Like, a lot of people view Web3 gaming as sort of reskin DeFi protocols. They view them as really early stage, complex, open world without a lot of focus and progression. They also view them as like Alvaro was saying, like unbalanced tokenomics that create for a lot of opportunity to pump and dump, or you have enclosed economies where people are just moving liquidity around within each other, and you get this like inflationary token. It's going to be hard to kind of break down that understanding of what Web3 is, right? You also get a lot of Web3, which is like, I hate to put it, but like Lego universes. So it's like everything feels like Ultima Online from the late 90s. And what we're trying to do is turn that on its head, right? Build a AAA game where if you completely remove the Web3 component, would still just be an incredible gaming experience that people would want to pay for. And then when you add in the Web3 component, you create kind of like a de facto marketplace, right? That, I don't know if anyone here is a World of Warcraft player, but it's a little bit like the real money auction house. Like we are basically creating a world that allows, or creating the foundations for a world that allows you, the Web3 player, to generate value, to create assets, not to buy an asset and then stake it for tokens, right? To create an asset through your gameplay, through your engagement that you can then sell to someone else. And that marketplace, right? That demand that we need to create for our Web3 players, that only works if the game itself is incredible. Otherwise, no one would want to join, right? It's sort of this concept of like, why would a Web2 player want to go and play a DeFi, a reskin DeFi protocol? Like that doesn't work. And I think one of the biggest challenges that I see is like, once you start the treadmill going, right? Like Alvaro mentioned, we've got the game is launching on chain in the middle of October, and then we've got this like monthly release cycle through December. Once you're on that treadmill, you got to keep on putting out content, right? You got to keep on giving expansions, adding capabilities, like continuing to build the world for the players. I think, for me, like that's one of the most difficult things to do.
Yeah, I hear you. Solving a bunch of big challenges within Web3. It's exciting. I got one more question for you guys, but before that, we'll do a short Q&A after. So, if you're interested in asking the team a question, please request, and then Kyle's going to handle after this. But the last question for you guys is really, what are some things to look forward to? Like, what are next steps? If people are excited about the game, which I hopefully everybody in the audience is, like, how do they get involved? How do they, get in line for the pass? What should they know?
So Alvaro's going to cover his ears, and I'm going to drop all the upcoming dates that I'm going to commit him and his team to.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
So we mentioned that we've got the on-chain version of the game that's launching in middle of October, right? So that's going to be the publicly playable product. Working back from that, we've got about 80 or so days before that release date. And so the team right now is sort of building and developing that release. Working back from that, we'll have a series of minting events in September. We'll be minting and selling land. We'll be minting and selling the initial units that you'll need to extract value from that land, right? Everything you need to play the game. That's going to be happening weeks before the release. And the reason why we're doing that is because we don't want people to mint a bunch of stuff and then have to hold it for forever before they get to play the game, right? It's mint your stuff, play the game, right? On the scale of weeks and days. Leading up into that mint, we'll be doing a mint pass event. The reason why we're doing the mint pass event is to give people the opportunity to basically reserve their spot, and it's sort of like a ticketing system. Like you mint a mint pass, you get yourself a voucher. Depending on what kind of voucher you get, you'll get a discount on your mint in the week after, but you also hold your place in line. Each mint pass has a sort of like opening time slot where you get to go and you get to mint before it opens up to everyone. In the next couple of weeks, or actually, it's already the 4th. So in the next week or so, we'll be talking about beta access. There will be an off-chain version of the game, multiplayer enabled, that will be available to beta testers towards the end of August. We're going to be doing 100 to 150 beta pass NFTs. So keep an eye out on Twitter. Oh, excuse me. Keep an eye out on Twitter for that. We'll be dropping that so that a small group of players can get in there and sort of play for themselves and give us feedback. We'll also be doing an ambassador program, similarly 100 to 150 exclusive NFTs that we'll be giving away on Twitter. So make sure that you guys follow us, stay up to date, and we'll be releasing a ton more news soon.
Awesome. Yeah, lots of great info. Thanks for breaking down those dates. There's definitely a lot to keep up with in the coming weeks and months that it's definitely good to stay tuned for on the Pulsar Twitter account. But, we also wanted to just leave some time to give the audience a chance to ask any questions if they have anything they'd like to know based on what Garrison and Alvaro shared with us today, anything they want to know about gameplay or, any of the releases coming up. And if not, all good. But we just wanted to, if you want to ask a question, go ahead and request to be a speaker. We'll give people a few minutes to jump in. But, while we're waiting, definitely thanks for joining us today. Really excited about what's coming up. Really excited that there's a lot of attention and thought being paid to how to, drive adoption and organic growth and how to really make it a sustainable ecosystem. All right. So we got here. All right. Capricorn, you're going to go up first. Let's try this out. Yeah, thanks for taking some audience questions. Let's make sure we respect our guests here and only ask questions related to Pulsar. And go ahead.
Hey, I'm sorry. It cut out there while I was transitioning to speaker. I'm assuming that I'm up. So, hey, everybody.
Yeah, you're
really
good.
Excited about this project. I grew up on StarCraft and Command and Conquer, and so is. Go ahead. Am I rugging?
No, you cut out. You're good.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Continue, no?
Yeah, it cut out for a little bit, but go ahead and we could hear you at first, but maybe you want to backtrack a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I was just saying I grew up on StarCraft and Command and Conquer, and those are my favorite type of games. So it's good to see that being sort of revitalized and relaunched on the Web3. But I had a quick question about, so if I wanted to do like a mining strategy, I would need to mint a land, and then I would need to mint a miner, and then I would need to mint a refinery. Is that correct?
Well, you have two paths, the free-to-play path and the non-free-to-play path, yeah? Because we want to give that option. Probably you are thinking in the non-free-to-play path, which is far away, much more profitable, yeah? So, yes, you are going to have the need. We are going to add in the website, in the starter kit drop, a description, and we are even going to add a helping graph. So, we are going to allow to do multi-minting. So in the page, you're going to see 4 NFTs, Mothership, Miners of Pulsar, Refinery of Pulsar, and one thing called Mobile Depot. Yeah. And when you click on them, adding them like into your basket, yeah, you're going to see that graph changing a bit, like doing a kind of prediction, yeah, to help you out with those numbers, yeah. But yes, you need to be sure first you acquire the mining rig. What I would recommend here is if you're going to play alone, maybe you only need one mothership, but try to get as much as possible of miners and refineries. Yeah, more miners, much more miners than refineries. And after that, you need to wait just a bit to acquire your land. The land is going to have rarity. We have 3 security ratings and 3 rarities. So if you want more, be bothered, and so the price will be lower, for instance, in the land that has less security. But you need to keep more in control of the alien waves, no? That you can see in the game that we are pitching now with the missions. Yeah. So yeah, I would say that if you go ahead with mining, high security, as much rare possible the land, and be sure you acquire as much miners and refineries as you can. If you acquire tons of miners, keep in mind to acquire movable depots to optimize the bottlenecks of mining. Everything will be explained in the drop page. Thank you for the
add
question,
something.
man. And I'm with you, Command and Conquer fan.
And for the people on the spaces who haven't played StarCraft, this probably sounds a little bit complex. So to make this easier, as Alvaro said, we're putting a sort of turns simulation on the minting page. So as you are adding units to that initial mint, you can see an estimate for how much Pulsar you'll be generating with your collection of units and the number of land that you're purchasing, right? And that is the sort of minting path. For anyone who wants to play on the free play that will be released a little bit later on, that's going to look and feel a little bit more like a mining only gameplay. Like you'll be mining Pulsar out of someone else's land, and we'll release a lot more information about what that sort of land lending mechanism and taxation mechanism looks like.
Awesome. Thanks for the question, and thanks for joining us. I think there's a lot of exciting things coming up, and lots more to learn. So I'm sure there's a lot to dive into in terms of their white papers and everything that's posted online. So definitely go check that out. Is there anybody else here that had a question for the Pulsar team? I know a couple people had requested up and then dropped off. Wanted to make sure we get all the questions in before we hop off. All right, cool. Sounds good. Well, as we wrap up here, wanted to give our guests an opportunity to any final words you want to share with the community, any final, I don't know, alpha leaks or anything that you can share with us before we wrap up.
Yeah, leave the leaks for Garrison, but so thank you so much to have us here to be able to talk about Pulsar. Really appreciate it. Really fans of what Avalanche subnets are providing to the gaming space. And be extra sure that you follow us on Twitter to get those free airdrop and get all the information. And please don't hesitate to drop question either in Twitter, and be subscribed to the mailing list, because we are going to open soon enough the Discord channel and also the Telegram channel, where Garrison, I'm sure, is going to leak tons of content. So have a good day, guys. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Garrison, anything from your end?
I'm going to be giving away 5 spider tanks here. So for anyone who has not followed us, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to do that, and then we'll be randomly selecting from our followers, and I'll be DMing you to collect some information so we can airdrop that to you. And like Alvaro mentioned, stay tuned on Twitter, where I leak content when the rest of the team is sleeping. So stay tuned.
Nice. I tried to do that at first, but I got stopped. So I only leak when the team is awake. But yeah, thanks for really joining us and breaking everything down. For everybody else here, I just dropped a tweet at the top here to give for what they're giving away. So make sure to follow them on Twitter. Check out all the things they have going on. Ed, thanks so much for leading us through the Q&A, and really excited for what Pulsar Game has to come. So stay tuned. Make sure that you're following along on all these channels, and we will see you all next time. Thanks for joining.